Hello, everyone. My name is Garrett, and of course, I've done a few other videos on topics. So today, I just want to do something fun. No philosophy. Which world history. And I wanted to do it on Batman. Which it's less about Batman and more about like why he's my favorite character. I don't think this is a what they say, a hot take. I mean, but there's been many people who talked about Batman. So, if you like them, some very good ones. People talk about comics, do them first. But if you don't mind having a guy talk about why Batman is his favorite character, you know, because it's fun, which is what this is. Um, then continue listening. And I guess like the reason Batman is my favorite character is basically because, well, there's like I like the the two parallel characters, right? Which is Bruce Wayne and Batman. Now, I think in most superheroes, you have the superhero self, and then you have the secret identity, and they're often pretty similar. I mean, my classic example that I always think about when I think about these things is Clark Kent. Um, because really, I mean, Clark Kent is Superman. If you read the Superman comics, which I'm not read that many. I mostly have watched Superman the animated series and the new show My Adventures with Superman, which is very good show. Um, but I mean, I believe it's read from Oversimplified. She says this. Clark Kent is Superman, and that's true. I mean, she's quite right. Because if you watch Superman or if you read the comics, um, Clark Kent pretends to be a bumbling idiot, but he has like the basic morality of Superman. He's like a good guy. He's upstanding. He is a good, decent person. Um, and so you can imagine, right, that Clark Kent would become something like Superman, were he to have superpower. I think that's a fairly standard reading. And maybe we'll talk about Superman some other time, but for now, Batman. Um, but you see, when you read Batman, and particularly when I got into Batman, which is watching Batman the animated series when I was younger. Um, and I've rewatched some episodes. I mean, it holds up even as an adult. You can enjoy it. I mean, obviously, some stuff is pretty goofy, but I mean, it still holds up. The art style is like, particularly for the first season, uh, is very good. Now, then you have Batman and Adventures Robin, and I mean, it's still good, but there's something about the Art Deco, uh, 1930s style in the first series. It's just, but the way I believe it's Conroy plays back, like there's a difference between Bruce Wayne, this playboy, wealthy, you know, entitled guy. I mean, in Batman, who is this, like persona of the vigilante. And then, of course, you have the way that, Bruce, I suppose, interacts with the Bat family. Um, which is also different. I mean, it's interesting, and so there's, I mean, there've been people debated about which is the true personality. Um, Batman the animated series, and if you watch Justice League and then Batman Beyond, seems to suggest that Batman is the sort of true personality, right? And Bruce Wayne is just the facade that Batman puts on, right? I mean, in order to, you know, function in the world. Um, Obviously, I mean, I sometimes watch this YouTube who does video game streams, but it's a Lorerunner, and he has a view. I mean, when he was playing a Batman game, that Batman is neither of them are the like true person, right? So neither Batman or Bruce Wayne is, but you know, someone different that usually comes out when he's just dealing with Alfred or Robin or what have. Um, so I don't really know. I mean, it is a question. I mean, um, I think I lean toward kind of both, but they're just. Well, I lean more toward Batman. I think Bruce Wayne is the facade, but um. So there's that question, and I think it's a very interesting psychological question to ask. And then, of course, you have the excuse me. Then of course you have the backstory of Batman, which of course is famous. Um, but in terms of the fact that his parents were shot to death in, I think, Crime Alley, um, uh, you know, and everybody knows it. I mean, it's probably the most, maybe only second to Superman. Um, is It's the most widely known backstory of a superhero. Uh, the thing of it is, I mean, even in the comics, when you read them, so if you've ever read The Long Halloween or some of the newer comics, Long Halloween is by Frank Miller. I mean, we read that. I mean, read all Frank Miller's Batman, even some of the later stuff. Where Batman begins to use guns, and even that's good. But and like, yeah, I mean, like, Bruce Wayne is not normal. I mean, like, I mean, in terms of dealing with his grief. I mean, I remember there's one scene in Batman Beyond, right, where uh Bruce is talking to, I believe, the main character. I can't remember his name, the teenage boy is, but yeah, I continue to remember my parents' death. I dwell on it all the time. It's like that's not normal and it's not healthy. But it is this seminal moment for Bruce Wayne, and it propels him on this sort of crusade, this like one man crusade to like clean up Gotham. Um, and I mean, there are comics that explore this. I mean, off the top of my head, uh, games that explore this, and like Batman Arkham Asylum, and that is also part of it. I mean, most people have an origin story, and it's not really, I mean, that big a deal. I mean, Superman, Spider-Man over at Marvel. Spider-Man, right? His uncle Ben is shot, right? And this is what propels Spider-Man to begin to use his power for good. But Spider-Man doesn't think on Ben's death. For Peter Parker, what happened to his uncle was tragic. It inspired him, because his uncle was a good person. But he doesn't dwell on it. He's a normal person. I mean, which is to say, he thinks on occasion it's sad. I mean, but Bruce Wayne's not normal because, I mean, the trauma. I mean, like when he's talking about this, what in the Batman Beyond animated series, he's like in his 80s. I mean, I don't know if he's that old, but nonetheless, he's like 80 or something. Um, like an idiot, but he still remembers very clearly the details of his parents' death. I mean, I've met 80-year-olds, and there's some who can remember a lot of things, but usually, you get up to 80 years old, you forget a few things. So I don't know, and I guess even though it's not normal, a part of it that I guess attracts people is that, you know, every one of us has traumatic events that we've gone through. And some of them have been like Bruce Wayne, life change. I've had a few traumatic events, nothing I think too horrible, nothing that I would think of as being life changing. Nonetheless, I mean, we've all been there. We all know that for the period of time after the traumatic event, it keeps coming up in our minds. It's hard to let go sometimes. And I think that makes Batman relatable in a way. Um, so now I'd like to talk about Batman's morality, right? Which is in my view a very interesting um sort of idea. Um and if I could just yep, I'm sharing and oh, there we go. I was doing it wrong. There's a book, The Philosophy of Batman. I mean, which I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, I like philosophy. Um, so it's called Batman and the Dark Knight of the Soul by Mark D. White, editor Robert. And it goes through how Batman deals with Batman and philosophy. So the uh what attracts, and I would maybe I'll probably put a link of the book in when this is done. But uh I read this book I believe when I was yeah I was beginning my bachelor's. So it's just a book I found. I read philosophy. I read the book, and one of the things that struck out to me is that so there's a question of why doesn't Batman kill the Joker, and this dwells on it, and so in ethics, I won't bore you, but in ethics, there's a difference between what is called deontological ethics, which is stuff like Kant and utilitarian And I think virtue ethics that might be under deontology. But deontological ethics is that you obey a rule and you follow it no matter what. And I had some loose understanding of people like Kant and mainly from like Western Sith. So I went around and uh, but I could never understand, um, like why would people follow something like Kantian philosophy? And Kantian philosophy is the idea that once you have a rule, you follow it, and you always try to do the right thing, no matter what. And it seemed to me, and it still seems to me like an utterly uh crazy idea because you have to be pragmatic. But I mean, I remember there's one story I heard about this guy, um, wherein he was a Kantian, he believed that you should never lie. Um, so he always tried to tell the truth. Um, and one day, this was during World War II, um, knocked on his door, and they sort of came in, and they were like, we're looking for this Jew. They showed him a picture. Uh, well, he knew that Jew was his neighbor, and he'd been there. But he said, but he also knew that he was committed to always tell the truth, and therefore, even if it was to the Nazis, right? I mean, something that we would say would be unquestionably evil, but to like a country, you have to, and so he had to wrestle with that internally, and then he finally said, well, I he remembered, well, I know me, he wrestled with it. He says, well, if I should tell them, because I'd be lying if I didn't tell them about my Jewish friend. On the other hand, if I tell them about my Jewish friend, they'll send them to like Auschwitz or somewhere, right? And so in the end, he wrestled with this, and he said, wait a moment, and he went back, and he he had his Kantian philosophy book. He went into the saying, and he thought about it, came back a moment later, and he's like, okay, right. He figured that it's all right to lie, um, because the Nazis were evil, right? And because it would not be violating his sort of ethical rule if he lied to the Nazis, because in a way, right, the Nazis were evil, so he would also be doing ethical harm if he told the truth. And so it was, even though violating his oath, it was necessary because of the given circumstance, which isn't completely Kantian, but nonetheless, sometimes you have to, you know, uh, compromise. And so he did it, and he lied. And his friend was not found, and that's the end of the story. But I remember, because like to me, when I heard about this in my philosophy class, I mean it was obvious. I mean it's like it's a lie. I mean because you don't want to write out your friend, right? But it's not obvious to somebody like Kant, and I struggle with that. And I also, I mean, of course, as I said earlier, I watched Batman the Animated Series. And in Batman the Animated Series, Batman not the Joker. And I always am like, why? Why wouldn't you, I mean, because the obvious thing to do, because every time the Batman puts the Joker in Arkham Asylum, he escapes and he kills more people, right? Um, at least in the modern comics, right? In the Silver and in Golden Age, it's the Joker's a much more. He doesn't kill many people, but but in the modern comics, this is basically a psychopath, right? I mean, um, so the question remains why? Why will Batman not kill the Joker? Why does he refuse to kill, right, other criminals, right? And you can get in. I mean, there's a Marvel movie, um, uh, uh, that DC put out. Right? I'm probably getting Batman Under the Hood. And it details called Jason Todd and his fall to he gets trapped by the Joker and is kind of beat to death, almost, and the Joker thinks he's dead. I mean, Batman thinks he's dead, so they have a funeral, but he's resuscitated later. I forget the exact plot of the movie, but a huge bone of contention between them is that Jason Todd, aka the Red Hood. But if the criminal is an awful human being and probably will not be reformed by prison, it's okay to shoot him. It's okay to kill the Joker. And he eventually comes to Batman like this and he says, why wouldn't you kill the Joker? Right? And, and Batman says, I just don't kill people. Like, I won't kill people. Like, it's a code. Um, it's even when they kill other people, even when they try to kill your friends, your family, you still won't kill them. Right? It's a red line. Otherwise, I'll be exactly like that. Um, and it's never like I agree with Jason Todd's reasoning, right? I mean, like Superman, I mean, in juxtaposition to Batman, Superman is willing to kill if it's necessary, right? I mean, you in the comics, Grant Morrison, Superman. He doesn't kill often, right? I mean, it's only like, I think a few people. I think he tries to kill Darkseid at some point, Superman, the animated series. And I think in the comics, there's only a couple people, like the really evil people, right? Um, and you'd think that Batman would be fine with this, but no, he refuses. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's the Joker or Darkseid or whoever. I mean, it's some thug on the street. And the question that always sort of came into my head is why? Why does Batman refuse to kill? Right? And read this book and this chapter, I forget what chapter number it is, but it talks about it. And basically it talks about in relation content ethics. That for Batman, it's not really, I mean, he, as the author says, he didn't mean to root himself into thinking it's like I crossed that red line. No, it's about there were people who killed his parents, right? Um, some thug, and if he did that, he would be just like the murder. And so this is a rule that Batman follows, and he follows it no matter what. I mean, I know there's in a few instances Frank Miller's comics where he does actually no he doesn't use guns in Frank Miller's comics. There's a huge thing in the Batman vs Superman the Snyderverse that Batman would use guns, but in the obvious example he gives his own. Well, I'm sorry to say that in the comics, even when Batman is like in Frank Miller 60 years old, and slower than he used to be. He still doesn't use guns. In fact, in Batman Beyond, he gives up being Batman rather than use a gun. I mean, so that is sort of the thing, and I think it helped me understand one content ethics. It's rules are rules because they are meant to be followed no matter what. And what irritates somebody like me, who's more pragmatic, more of a utilitarian, I can understand why some people do that. I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody follows 100%. And I mean, because we're all flawed, and I mean, hypocrites to some degree, but like if you're a good content, you at least try, right? Like the guy who sort of knocked on his door and not his door, and he asked him, where's your Jewish neighbor, right? Where's this guy? Why we think he's a Jew? And yeah, I mean, you have to give it thought. And I think with Batman, it's similar. So yeah, I mean, I recommend the book. It's I believe it's only like 200 something pages. If you like Batman, you like. Um, and then now we can, I guess, get to the third thing. We can deal with Catwoman and the villains. I mean, they are great, but maybe in another video. Um, but one reason I like the final reason that I'll give on this video as to why I like Batman is, of course, the city of Gotham. Um, and let me show you these images. So I mean, of course, Gotham is I mean, here's the series Gotham, and I watch it. I recommend um the series Gotham. I'm in season 2 at the moment, and I mean it's good. I mean it's kind of cheesy at moments, and it has a kind of soap opera feel at times, but I really enjoy it. But yeah, image of Gotham, yeah. So I mean, of course, I mean, if you know the history, Gotham is based on New York, right? Originally, um, and of course, this is a thing with. Excuse me, let me get with superhero cities, right? I mean, like you've got Superman, which has always struck me as like version of like I think San Francisco. Um, I don't know if that's true, but just watching the animated series, I was always struck. Um, and some superheroes have a real base city like Detroit. I think that's Moon Girl. That's the city she's based out of. But usually the allegory is for uh real world city. But the thing about Superman, I mean, just look at like these images, right? Is that it has such a lot, right? I mean, you read a Gotham City, read a Batman series in this crime alley or the Uptown or the Lowtown or you Wayne Tower. You feel um like here we go map. Uh, it feels like a different city. Like it's not just like a copy based off New York, but it feels uh like it's a real place. I mean, and with history, right? That you've got old Gotham, you've got Somerset, you've got Berkeley, you've got the people over on the tower. Uh, it feels like there's history there. And as somebody, I mean, I'm a historian by, I have my bachelor's degree, but I guess, I'm, I'm a historian, although only kinda. Uh, I mean, I love history and the fact that Gotham has a history, right? Or feels like it has this kind of history that's been built up over, centuries, right? has always taken with me. And I don't get that when I read Superman in Metropolis, right? Or I think it's Paradise City with Wonder Woman. I mean, they're like, but with Gotham, if I read a Batman story, I get this sense of history. You know, so I think that's why I think that the fact that Gotham itself is a character, and depending on the series in the comics, or the movies, or the animated shows, you will get a different views of Gotham. But Gotham itself is a character, and I wouldn't say it's unique to what Batman's the only superhero that's this is the case. But I don't know, there's just something special. Um anyway, I think those are like three reasons that I like Batman. And I may do another video on like Batman's Rogue Gallery or Superman whenever I feel the fancy and I hope that, you know, people enjoy it. I mean, I don't know. If you disagree with my takes on Batman, I guess you can rage at me in the comments. But have a nice day, everyone, and you know, um, I'm gonna say good night.